I want to show our viewers just where the last Panchayat election stood. And what I've done is I've done a cross tab looking at the Lok Sabha and the Assembly data numbers. This is vote share, so you'll get a sense of how tight the battle really was. So in 2019, the Trinamool had 43% of the vote share in West Bengal. The BJP had 41%. So the gap was only 2%. In the assembly elections that followed in 2021, the Trinamool's vote share was 48. The BJP's vote share was 38. So there's a 10% gap. But cut to the Panchayat elections. Remember, on the 8th of July, West Bengal will see Panchayat elections. You'll hear a lot more about it as this build-up happens. The gap in the vote share of the Panchayat elections is 78 versus 12. So that's a massive gap of 66, massive gap of 66 between the one and the two party. And therefore, the question now, Jayanto, Ghoshal, is what, according to you, is the state of play in West Bengal? So you've got the ED summons being dodged by Abhishek Banerjee. That's a political matter. But on the ground, you travel across the state. What's the sense that you're picking up? Are we looking at an assembly election-like scenario? Are we looking at a Lok Sabha-like scenario? Or are we going to see something similar to the last Panchayat elections? Because typically, the state government which is in power tends to have the advantage in local body elections. Jayanto.
Rahul, thank you very much. Rahul, at the outset, I will say that there is an anti-incumbency against TMC regime also. It's a law of nature. Because after 10 years, you cannot compare. Similar in the national level also, always there is a law of nature, the anti-incumbency comes. Here, in the districts, in the villages, you know, the local TMC, the behavioral pattern of the committees, and Abhishek Banerjee also pointed out several lacunas in that system publicly in different rallies to rectify those fault lines. So I have to say that there is a anti-incumbency. You cannot compare with the 10 years back what was the situation or 5 years back what was the situation. So there is a increasing discontent among the mass of the Bengal. But you know, the opposition, now the delay of, the expectation on the Panchayat election, the massive campaign was there that Mamata will not hold the assembly Panchayat election. And sudden announcement of the
Why has it been announced suddenly? Why is the poll been announced suddenly?
No, I'm telling you, because for the last 1 month, the file was with the governor on the chief election commission, chief electoral officer of the state election commission, and there are 3 letters governor saying to the state government that you have to give some other names. We will not accept the name of the Rajiva Sinha because BJP and the other opposition parties were accusing that this man will create terror and we cannot hold a free and fair election. But governor eventually he followed the constitutional procedure because the state electoral officer will be recruited by the state government, as state government said. But now it is, they went to the court also on this issue. But in this situation, CPM and the opposition parties, they didn't buy the time for the nomination preparation. They are not ready actually. They could not expect the sudden, and now they are saying that
is the BJP ready according to you or not? Because the BJP has also been facing a lot of infighting.
No. BJP ideologically and BJP, they are strategically, they are, I think, more than Congress and the left. BJP is ahead on the question of the public, getting the public opinion, but in the organizational capability and the selection of the candidates in the different districts, you can blame that for the terror we cannot give the candidate. But the reality is that the most of the, because you know the winnability is with the TMC, that is the myth. And the most, it happens in the Uttar Pradesh also. Nobody wants to be a candidate of Samajwadi Party. They want to be a candidate of BJP. In the same way, in West Bengal, most of the candidates who want to be a candidate in the Panchayat, it's a 3-tier system. So in the lower level, everybody wants to be TMC, and that's why the massive jhagda, the massive infighting is the TMC to get the nomination.
Okay, so
In
you've said
BJP
some very
also,
interesting and important things. One, that there is anti-incumbency at the local level. The Trinamool leadership at the highest levels is aware of it. B, the opposition wasn't prepared for these elections because they didn't think they'd be announced so soon, and that there will be a challenge for the opposition to fight good candidates who can take on the Trinamool. And despite the anti-incumbency, even at the starting point, remember, all elections are essentially, from a perspective of data and psephology, the same. If at the starting level, the gap between the winner and the runner-up is 66%, even if the gap comes down, the end result is likely to change very much. That's just what electoral arithmetic says.